On words. Everybody say words. How many of y'all like honey? Oh, it's so good. Let me say this about honey. If you like honey, don't kick the beehive. You'll get it later. Winnie the Pooh taught us a lot about issues with honey and bees. And you know our words? Do you know that our words are supposed to be like honey? Right? Are y'all with me today? The things you say and the things that you declare out loud and the things you declare over your life and over your family, over your marriage, over your children, they should be like honey. How many of you have ever thought, man, I've got a mountain in my life and I've got to get around it, above it, or it's got to get out of the way? How many of you have ever had a mountain in your life? Yep. Something crashing against you, a difficulty. Can I say this to you today? Sometimes the greatest mountain in your life is within you. Sometimes my greatest mountain in my life is within me. And I will declare and I will speak as you do wherever my heart is connected and whatever my heart is connected with and what I'm connected to. And if you've got a mountain in your life that's staring you down or something difficult, well, I would just go, oh my goodness, I'm never going to make this, or I'll fail, I'll do this again, I'll never measure up. Why is it, I wrote this, have you ever thought about why we say things that push other people's buttons? Well, my thought about that is you got to know the button to push before you can push it. Come on now. So usually you're pushing people's buttons that you are close with. Or why we get defensive and indignant. Listen, if you've got an issue with being defensive in your life, somebody says something to you, you're like, oh, no. Don't defend. Let the foundation of who God is in your life be your greatest defense. Amen? Or why we put up a wall and we fail to see things through another person's perspective. Right? How many of y'all want to be right? And the rest of you lying. You want to be right just like I want to be right. And when we're driven to be right and we're driven to have people understand us, we can overtake or dominate the conversation or dominate the room in that way. And we need everybody to see everything from our perspective. I got to tell you, there are different perspectives out there. Are y'all with me, church? No, I know as you get older, you can just live in your own perspective and your own opinion. Here's what I do with my older sons. I don't do this to my younger son because he's not old enough yet and he hasn't arrived. But my two older sons, I have decided I will not give them my opinion unless they ask me. But if they ask, you better bring your lunch, your dinner, and your breakfast for the next day because I'm going to share my opinion. How many of you have opinions? Oh, yeah. And why do we fight with people that are close to us? You know, we usually fight with people that aren't close to us because they don't really matter in the sense of the depth of our soul, but we usually fight with people that are close to us. Proverbs, I want to go there really quick, chapter 30, verse 32. If you have played the fool, I wonder this morning how many of you have ever played the fool before? Don't raise your hand. Yes, I see several hands. Yes, God appreciates your honesty. If you have played the fool and exalted yourself. I love how the Bible, God is so good to us that he'll just identify right at what it means to play the fool. You see, this is why, I'll go to this. There's so much teaching in this that I won't get to today. But this is why when I come into the presence of the Lord, I need my words that come forth out of my mouth to exalt God. This is important, and they need to get into the air. I don't want to stand before God and say, well, I thought it, God. Or my intention was, God, to do this. But no, I want it to come out. This is why it's important. Because Lord knows I do enough to exalt myself. Do you know how we exalt ourselves? Usually with our words, and either by tearing someone else down so that we're exalted, but usually words are involved with it. And so when we come together in the presence of the Lord, we don't need to be foolish. We need to be wise. Let's exalt the King of Kings and Lord of Lords. Are y'all with me today, church? If you have played the fool and exalted yourself, or if you have planned evil, clap your hand over your mouth. Let's do that. I want us to practice this right now. Yeah, here we go. Hand up. Now, see, my eyebrows go straight up because I am a man of many words. You'll get it later. Sometimes we would do well to do this. Now, what if I went around preaching that way? You'd never understand a word I said. Now, I know what you're thinking. That means I can reach over and put my hand on the mouth of my spouse. I would suggest you not doing that. That's a bad move. For as churning the milk produces butter. Butter is not produced in the old way of churning right away. It has to keep going. Listen. And as twisting the nose produces blood, so stirring up anger produces strife. Everybody say strife. So that innocent little word or that little innocent conversation that you had, it may not bring to you the full fruit of it until a little while, but you want the fruit to be good like honey, or you want it to be sweet like honey. You do not want it to be like strife. Everybody say strife. So I want to hit on this. How often, and maybe you know somebody like this, I know people like this say, I didn't mean to say that. You can only say that like once. You don't get any more free passes to say, I didn't mean to say it. Yes, you did. You meant to say it. Your intentions were very clear because your mouth is connected with your heart. Everybody say connected. So I don't say things that are independent of how I feel or what my heart is connected to. You cannot go through life that way. You speak things forth with what you're connected with, and it's usually at a soulful and a deep level. Are y'all with me, church? Our intentions don't matter, our behavior does, right? Everybody say behavior. I'm going to give you 4 things today to consider before using words. How many of you use words? Let me see your hand. Yeah, that's all of us in the room. So this is for all of us. The first one is this: analyze. That means think about what you're going to say before you say it, right? This is the analyzation. This is what I really feel like saying. So as I take you on this journey, this is what I really feel like. It goes like this. I want to give them a piece of my mind. Right? How many of you have ever felt that way? Let me see your hand. Yes. Or, I feel like breathing fire on this customer service. I don't know why it's called customer service anymore. It's called you're a distraction to whatever it is, filing my fingernails or texting on the other line. In fact, I wish I could be a fly on the wall with, I'll tell you one that I have to call periodically, DirecTV. Sweet Jesus. After being on the line for 45 minutes and the music is playing, and now I know exactly everything this music's going to play, and I get disconnected. I now often think, who is the person on the other end that's about to receive from me? How about this one? I feel like telling my cousin that they are a lazy bum. Or this one. I feel like reminding my spouse of the undealt with stuff from the last disagreement. Uh-oh, come on, somebody. Okay, now I'm going to this is not a marriage conference, but I'm going to give you a breakdown here. Ladies, I need you to listen to me. This is true of men. I don't care what you think about this. You are never going to understand a man fully, and a man is never going to fully understand you fully. Come on, somebody. But see, men really do not remember the last fight. I honestly can say to my, I have no recollection. We may have fought yesterday. I'm like, we did? Men are very simple. See, and women are going, so simple. Yeah, you're simple, all right. We know it. I promise you, Laura will bring it back up. I'm like, I can't remember that. I don't remember. And it's not even I think God gave men the ability to just go, what? What are you talking about? And see, ladies have this incredible ability. Ladies have a mental filing system. And they know where every drawer is and every letter is. Bringing it right back out. Y'all know what I'm talking about? Is that Tim Sanders in the back? Tim, good to see you. On the way back to health, right? Let's give Tim a hand. Awesome. I thought I saw you back there. Amen. And so I promise you, if you're a lady in the house and your man says to you, I don't remember it, they are telling you the truth. Everybody say truth. I mean, it's just kind of the way that is. But you analyze. So, men, if you pull the drawer open and pull it back out, you need to analyze before you do it. And ladies, you need to analyze before you do it, because you're going to have to connect the dots between what that drawer and that file has to do with anything that's going on over here that we're talking about. But at the end of the day, for you, it has everything to do with it. It all goes together. It's like spaghetti. After you analyze, then you deduct. Everybody say deduct. Here's the deduction. If I say this, this will happen. You have to decide, do I want this fight? Do I need this moment? Come on now, this is true. This will save you. Everybody say save. Proverbs 4:26 in the ESV says, ponder the path of your feet. In other words, think about this before you open the door and move that direction. Where are you headed? Where is this going to take you? The third one is this: prioritize. Everybody say prioritize. Prioritizing is, well, this is why I feel the way that I do. And by the way, how many of you feel? Let me see your hand. You do, because you say what you feel. Come on now. How many of you know that not everything you feel needs to be said? Uh-oh, come on now. This is true. Put the spout on the spigot, close it up, and don't let it come out until you have done that. Prioritize. This is what I really want to happen. So this is what the end goal is. I want to be heard. How many of you want to be heard? We all do. We want to be heard. We need somebody to hear our opinion and hear our thoughts. Or we want to be respected. How many of you want to be respected? Well, if you want to be respected, you've got to give respect. Come on now. Or I want to laugh. How many of you like to laugh? Or I want to be kind. Everybody say kind. Boy, this is lost in our culture today. Just simple kindness. If you want your kindness challenged, go to any local Walmart in the region and try to check out. Your kindness will be challenged at every turn. Even the self-checkout. It will challenge you the greatest. If you're paying cash. How many of you pay for things with cash? Oh, there's still some of us alive. The woman looked at me after she had to come over and fix them. You're paying with cash? I'm like, yes. It's green things with pictures on them. And they have numbers on them. And because I have it, I can spend it. Oh. After you've done that, you navigate. Everybody say navigate. This is what I need to do to get there. Now, restaurants can be the most challenging. How many of you are in the restaurant business? Let me see your hand. Anybody here in the restaurant business? Yes, I see your hand. Bless you. Bless you. Especially on Sundays. I've heard restaurant people tell me church people are the most mean and stingy and cranky people. And then I say, well, they don't go to church alive then, do they? Come on, somebody. Restaurants, I'm telling you, restaurants will do me in. I have several favorite restaurants. Let me give you a secret. If there is a line, the restaurant may be good. Right? So you got to visualize the end result is going to be better than the momentary huffing and puffing that you may be going through, right? Or otherwise you can just eat at home, because that line is always like you've constantly got food there, right? So I may or may not be this person. I went to a restaurant this week. It's one of my favorite restaurants. I will not call the name of it. But I already know I have to pray before I get there. Because the service isn't going to be subpar, but the food is off the charts. And so I am actually a customer service type person. I think if you're going to have a business or you're going to do something, you should treat people with honor, respect, and do what you say you're going to do. I'm, I guess, old-fashioned like that. Well, I already know as I'm driving together, okay, Jesus, take the wheel. I'm having to sing a bunch of worship songs and get my spirit all attached to Jesus because I already know it's going to be difficult, but pretty the time I get there and the food being presented to me, which is so good. We get there and we even scheduled it earlier. See, I'm one of these. In fact, I sometimes eat so early that my son says, Dad, real people don't eat dinner at that time. And I'm like, son, when you go to bed, when I go to bed early, you're going to eat early. Come on, somebody. And so we get there. Nobody's in the restaurant. And we're standing there, and they take us upstairs. It's got this beautiful view. And I'm sitting there. And sure enough, Jesus took the wheel. Because I was so upset. I started feeling my blood pressure rise. I don't know how you feel your blood pressure rise, but I started sweating. Laura's like, are you okay? I'm like, sure. Could we go find a waiter or waitress? Finally, 20 minutes in, we got water. Yes! We're moving in the right direction. Come on now. And then the Holy Spirit spoke to me because I knew I was teaching on words. He was going to use me as a case study. The waitress comes over and says, how are you today? Good. I'll be right back to take your order. I'm like, I just want to eat. She came back. This is a problem. She came back, took our drink order, left. Like before I could tell her, wait, I need she's gone. And then she came back and took our little appetizer order because I like this appetizer. How many of y'all like octopus? Oh, I don't, but I like it at this place. I don't know what they do to it, but they cover it all up, and I don't see all those little things coming up out of it that are going to take your esophagus and squeeze the life out of you as it's going down. I don't know. It's weird. And then she finally came back and took our order, and like many moons later, we finally checked out, but I did not lose it. But I may or may not be that person that could lose it in the restaurant. Right, so all the restaurant people in the house, how many of you work at a restaurant? Let me see your hand. Any kind, doesn't matter what it is. Yes, I see your hand in the back. God bless you. Because my mother was a waitress for a long time, and I remember all the mess she had to put up with people. Just remember this. They are handling your food from point A to point B. Just think, it's all perspective. Is anybody with me in the house? It's all perspective. Let me give you this one. Honesty, humility, and vulnerability work when you want attention from your spouse. Let me give you these three words again. Honesty. Everybody say honesty. How about humility and vulnerability? Now, I want to give you another 101. In your marriage, if you have to be right all the time, there is going to be a problem. Oh, I see heads shaking. 1, 2 people, yes, Pastor, I agree. It's okay for you not to be right. Come on now. It's okay. It's okay for you not to be right. And it's okay to say, look, I stunk. I was wrong. Oh, could you say that again? I thought I misunderstood you. I was wrong. Everybody say wrong. I think you need to teach your children how to say they're wrong as much as they'll tell you they're right, because Lord knows they don't have any problem telling you they're right. Y'all know what I'm talking about? Mm-hmm. Or this, ask people you are in conflict with. Everybody say conflict. I believe that every college freshman in the United States of America should be made to take conflict resolution as a class, because this is something you will deal with for the rest of your life. Resolving conflict. Right? You'll have to resolve conflict in your marriage. You'll have to resolve conflict with your children. You'll have to resolve conflict at the work. You'll have to resolve conflict with your in-laws or your outlaws or whatever you have. You'll have to be constantly resolving conflict. Ask people you're in conflict with to help you see the situation through their eyes instead of assuming that your perspective of the event is correct and definitive. That was a mouthful there. Are y'all still with me? Aesop. Y'all remember Aesop? Yeah. One day, the wind and the sun were disputing which one was stronger. So the sun and the wind saw this traveler coming along, and the sun said, I see a way to decide our dispute. Whichever of us can cause the traveler to take off his coat shall be regarded as the stronger. The sun sounds like a genius to me. You'll get it in a minute. And so he said, and I'm going to let you go first. So he let the wind go first. And so the sun retired behind a cloud, and the wind began to blow. And the harder the wind blew, the tighter the jacket went around the traveler. Until finally the wind could blow no more and gave up. And then the sun came out and shone so bright and so glorious that the traveler got hot and he took his jacket off. Pastor, what's the moral of that story? Stop huffing and puffing until you blow the house down. But let the sun on the inside of you shine so bright that you bring kindness into that moment, and without ever having to exert energy or unnecessary dynamics, you're able to diffuse a situation. Can somebody say amen? Proverbs 15:1 out of the Message. A gentle response diffuses anger, but a sharp tongue kindles a temper fire. 3 quick things about the words of God at the very beginning of the book. And I think these are so powerful that we can learn from them and put them in action. First one, God said. Everybody say God said. God said, let there be light. Edification. Everybody say edification. The word edify is used in the Bible to describe something that is built up. And so, God didn't destroy with his words. He didn't say, where's the stinking light? Come on. No, he just said, let there be light. And he spoke into the moment, and the light existed. And then from the light, everything else was created as God spoke it into being. And so each part of the creation was built upon that which was already before it. Listen to me, church. And so boom, 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 until finally the last thing God created was man. And out of man, he took a rib and created woman. And so women say God saved the best to last. Yeah, I see your hands, yes. Think about this in our own lives. If God said, and he spoke forth edification, and edification comes from whatever is built up in your life. So if all you've ever had built up in your life is negativity and criticism and harsh words and difficult, that's what you're going to spew out of your mouth. But when you encounter God, and Jesus transforms us from the inside. Listen, the word isn't just words that go in one ear and out the other with us. The word actually goes into our soul, and it begins to build us up. And then all of a sudden, the foundation is built until eventually these words come to life in us, and we begin to declare these words forth. And we begin to say, in a similar way that God spoke forth, we begin to speak edification in our marriage. If you want your marriage stronger, begin to edify your spouse. Come on, somebody. Are y'all with me today? But listen, you say, well, I'm edifying, but they're not edifying. Listen, you need to quit keeping count. Because if you create a culture of edification, eventually your spouse is going to begin to edify as well. I want to say this to you about your children. You need to speak words of edification over your children. Begin to declare. You're creating a culture with that. And you, yes, you parent, have the single greatest power and responsibility to give words of edification over your children. And so listen, if you have a child that struggles in math, I won't ask you to raise your hand. You have a child that struggles in math, but they studied really hard. And they came home and they had a 91, which is an A today, by the way. But when I was in school, we got cheated. 91 was a B. And so I wanted to say, that's a B, that ain't an A. You see, that's what the flag, you didn't measure up. No, you don't want to say to your child, you should have got a 93. No, you want to say, that is amazing. You say, Pastor, you really do? I do. This is what I say, that is awesome. You got an A. It's a sunny skies kind of day. Let's go. Edify, build up, speak those words of life and encouragement. Are y'all with me, church? Listen, you don't have to tell people everything they do wrong. They already know everything they do wrong. It'll knock them off their feet when you say, that was awesome. After edification, there's identification. Everybody say identification. God called. So God said first, then he called. And he said to Adam, he said, I want you to name every one of these animals, and whatever you name them, that's what they will be called. Everybody say called again. Do you know that I believe that bondage in a life, and all of us in this room struggle with bondage at some level and at some degree because we're human beings. And if you're not a human being, please check in at the back door and we'll make sure that you go to the alien section. But we struggle with bondage in some capacity or in some way. We all struggle with issues and stuff in our life. I believe that the struggle with that is often the result of the way human words have been spoken forth to identify us and how we have reacted to those words. And the power is in the reaction to the words now, not the fact that someone has said you are this way. You have to choose to believe that you are that person or that way before it has power in your life. How do you break forth out of that? By what God and who God says you are. Come on, somebody. What does Jesus say about you? What does God declare about your life? Are y'all with me, church? Bondage in our lives is more than we realize. It's related to the way we talk. Do you know that you can bind your life up by reciprocating words that come out of you that have been spoken over you that are actually lies? They are not the truth. But because you've been told it, you believe it, and now you speak it forth. And so it's time to begin to declare some different words over our lives. I can do this. I will overcome this. I will walk this out. I will be victorious over this. Are y'all with me, church? But those words have to come from a different source and a different place. And so after that, the third words that God used were multiplication. Everybody say multiplication. What did he say to Adam and Eve? Be fruitful and multiply. Everybody say be fruitful and multiply. This is the blessing of God. And so multiplication is the way that God blesses. God wants you to multiply. He wants multiplication in your life. And so the Bible says God bless, and everything he blesses multiplies what is characteristic of him, right? And so when you're praying blessing over your children, you're not blessing them to reciprocate all the bad stuff that you do or you reciprocate in your life. You're asking them to walk in the blessing of the character of who God is. Are you with me today, church? This is powerful. And this is not just a one-time we'll come together at Christmas time and read the Bible story and pray a blessing. No, I want to challenge you to bless, declare blessing, pray it, speak it. We make it out to be way too hard. Let's come together and bless. No, say, I bless you. In fact, I was laying in the bed last night. My son was in the bed, and we were chatting, and I said, no, my son doesn't sleep with me. None of my children have ever slept with me. Hallelujah. If you do, that's you, but my children can't sleep with me because my bed is for me. Come on, somebody. He created little beds for little people and big beds for big people. I'll move on. But we were there, and I was saying, I bless you. I declare. And see, you can't just say, I thought a blessing over you. There it is again. I thought this blessing over you, and it was so precious. I wish I could share it with you, but I only thought it. No, you got to speak it. You have to declare it. I pray blessing every time we come together to eat, and we eat together, and cell phones aren't allowed there because I don't bless cell phones at the table. Come on, somebody. You see, you set the rules there, but I pray blessing over you. I declare. My granddaughter, she'll come and stay with us periodically, and we love every second of it. Oh, isn't she precious? Would you stand and raise her up like Simba? Look at her. Oh. God love. She's even sticking her tongue out at you. She's sitting there sticking her tongue out at me as I'm preaching. But when she comes to our house, you say, well, she's not cognizant of anything you're saying. I'm like, I'm blessing her. I declare blessing over her. I declare God's blessing and God's favor and God's provision. And we pray for her husband already, right? Because we started praying for our children's wives a long time ago. And I'm going to brag on our daughter-in-law, Ivy. She's amazing. She's exactly who Thomas needed, and she's an amazing person, and I thank God for it because I've heard horror stories about daughter-in-laws and son-in-laws. I've heard horror stories, and I'm like, Jesus, take the wheel. You know, when Laura and I were, when Harlow was first born, Laura even said to me, we cannot go there every day because we do not want them to move away. And I said, I'm going to go every day. Why would they not want me there every day? For hours. Hours at the time. I'll bring them food. She said, we can't. I said, we can. She said, we can't. I said, we will. She said, we will not. I said, we shall. I'm going to start speaking King James here in a minute. Thus saith the Lord. But we don't go every day, do we? No, we don't. Look, no. But I want to, yeah. In fact, I'll be going, I'm having a Harlow, I call it a Harlow withdrawal. Any grandparents know what I'm talking about? Yeah, I'm having a Harlow withdrawal. What shall I do? We shall go and bring gifts and glad tidings of joy. Multiply, bless, I bless. In fact, I want my children and grandchildren to be more blessed than I am. And so whatever my blessing is, it's the floor for them. And then it gives them the ability to go further and to go stronger and to go longer and to go further in the blessing of the Lord. Are y'all with me? Matthew 12:36. Would you stand? For every idle word men may speak, they will give an account of it in the day of judgment. For by your words you will be justified. Now look at, this is huge. By your words you will be justified, and by your words you will be condemned. Whoa! Wait a minute. That's pretty powerful right there. How can I use words that justify me? Well, I'm going to tell you. I'm going to give you some. I forgive you. I forgive you. Or, I'm sorry. Oh, come on now. I was wrong. Or, I love you. You know, I'm a crazy thinker, but when I think about words, if I were only allowed to use a few words, and that's not me, but if I were only allowed to use a few words, what would I always want to say? I'm telling you, I'm being honest with you. Jesus, I love you. Or, I love you. I could not imagine not being able to say those words or to be able to receive those words back. I love you. Right? Or this one's for me, this one's not for you. You are awesome! No, I know some of the youth, I went around and found out, you're awesome! And they were like, is Pastor for real? Yes! That's right, that was awesome, you are awesome! Does he really live like that? I do. Think about if you could narrow down to just a few words that you could speak, what would it be? Forgive me. I'm sorry. I love you. We can do this. That's another word. We got this. We can do this. May God let us be people of edification and multiplication and identification. Listen. What our world needs today is a churches that are edifying. Edifiers, right? We got this. We can do this.